Good evening, and thank you for watching ECSO News on Blab TV, where facts matter. I'm Deputy Melanie Peterson.
And I'm Amber Southard. Let's take a look at our top trending stories. Arrested for impersonating a law enforcement officer. On November 21st, Martin Goodman flashed a badge and tried to pull a person over on Highway 90 in Santa Rosa County. The victim kept driving. He said Goodman used a siren and that a light was visible on the dash of Goodman's SUV. The victim called 911 and pulled into the Winn-Dixie parking lot on Creighton Road. The victim assumed Goodman was a law enforcement officer, but called dispatch to confirm. Goodman then pulled his car in front of the victims and flashed his badge once more and began arguing, then left the parking lot. ECSO deputies arrived and were able to get a description of Goodman and his vehicle. Using that description, Pensacola police officers were able to stop Goodman and his vehicle. Inside the SUV, ECSO deputies found a security badge and a light on the dash. Goodman was arrested and charged with impersonating a law enforcement officer and false imprisonment. During the investigation, ECSO investigators determined Goodman was responsible for an attempted sexual battery that occurred on May 18th. In that incident, Goodman also pretended to be a law enforcement officer and pulled the victim over in an area of Amber Street and North Davis Highway. Goodman has also been charged with attempted sexual battery. ECSO investigators believe there might be other victims. If you've had any encounters with Goodman, call the ECSO at 436-9620. And arrested for burglary of a local business. On November 23rd, Justin Evers burglarized APS Waste on Pine Forest Road. He has been arrested for burglary, grand theft, criminal mischief, and grand theft auto.
This year, the Escambia County Sheriff's Office is partnering with the Salvation Army of Pensacola, WKRG, and the Gulf Coast CW for the Magical Christmas Toy Drive. We are collecting new unwrapped toys to provide local needy children with gifts this holiday. We are looking for new unwrapped toys for boys and girls ages from newborns up to 12 years old. Drop off toys at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office Admin Building at 1700 West Leonard Street or one of the 3 precincts. Go to our Facebook page at Official ECSO to find the closest drop-off location to you. Sergeant Heath Jackson was awarded the FBI LEADA Trilogy Award for attending and completing Supervisor Leadership Institute, Command Leadership Institute, and Executive Leadership Institute training. The Trilogy Award is presented to those exceptional individuals who demonstrate a high standard of dedication to continued education.
Our Citizens Law Enforcement Academy students put on their homicide investigators hats last week. Sergeant Hendershot walked them through a homicide investigation. Attendees had to narrow down a wide suspect pool, evaluate crime scene photos, and cause of death to solve a case. And Deputy Coates walked attendees through what keeps our property crimes and fraud unit busy. While answering questions, Deputy Coates also gave tons of great suggestions to the class to help them avoid becoming victims of scams. Our next CLIA class begins February 8th. Sign up online at escambiaso.com. And Leo, our elf on the shelf, has returned to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Our mischievous elf wanted Sheriff Morgan's office all to himself. We got Leo out of there just in time before an interview with Channel 3 News. He needs more training before he's ready for a media interview. What will Leo do next? Follow us on Facebook at Official ECSO or on Instagram at ECSO News to see what mischief he'll get into on the next ECSO News post.
We're very proud to introduce the newest members of the ECSO's Mounted Posse Unit. Congratulations to Ginger Goolsby on Buck, Deputy Melissa Sterling on Major, and Leslie Leland's new posse horse, Annie. The Escambia County Mounted Posse is a volunteer unit with each member owning or having access to a horse. By volunteering to join, qualified teams can have fun and serve their community at the same time. Call Officer Howard Anderson at 393-2276 for more information about joining the Mounted Posse unit. We need your help locating the people in this week's Crime Stopper segment. Our first featured fugitive is Manuel Jacquet. He is 28 years of age and is wanted for fraud, swindling with a bond of $125,000. And it's so funny because we were actually talking about him just yesterday.
We were. He's a contestant on our Wheel of Fugitives there.
Absolutely. Y'all are going to have to help us locate Manuel before he steals everything.
Yeah, he had a pretty big, hefty bond there and was, we were kind of calling him the Grinch of Christmas.
Yeah, And I think it's just.
Yes.
I think so.
That's it. Well, we're just waiting for the wheel to land on him to see if he's selected for our next Wheel of Fugitives winner.
Absolutely. And we're going to need your help again. Our next fugitive is Amy Huxford. She's 35 years of age and is wanted for grand theft of a motor vehicle with a bond of $10,000. And I hate to say this, but keep a constant watch on your keys if you're friends of Amy.
You know, I mean, it looks like she needs a ride, but we do that whole campaign, lock your doors, keep it yours, and don't leave your car keys in your car. A lot of people like to pull their car keys in the spare car or in the next car next to them, their spare keys in that car, however you want to say it if that was backwards. But when they get into your car, then they've got the keys to the car that's parked next to it, and it makes it easier for them to take it.
Absolutely. Keep those garage fobs out of your cars as well, or they'll get access to your house.
That's the scariest thing.
Yeah.
And if you know Amy, let us know.
Exactly. Our final fugitive is Kelly Hendon. She's 48 years old and is a deadbeat parent and has a purge of $3,070. Kelly, it's Christmas.
Girl, pay it up.
Pay it up. Pay it up. We want everybody to have a good Christmas.
That's it. Go ahead and get this taken care of so you might be able to see and spend time with your kid for Christmas.
That's right. But if you do know the whereabouts of any of our feature fugitives, contact Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP or go online to p3tips.com. All tips are 100% anonymous, folks. If your tips lead to a fugitive's arrest, you could be eligible for a cash reward of up to $3,000. And remember, everybody, crime doesn't pay, but we do. Hey everybody, it's Warrant Wednesday here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, and it's time for
Wheel of Fugitives.
Warrant Wednesday here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel.
All right, this week's winner is Demetrius Towner, wanted for grand theft of a motor vehicle with a bond of $2,000, Amber.
Oh, come on. You recognize Demetrius. Turn him in. If he stole that, he might steal from you, and you wouldn't want that. Also, Demetrius, if you're watching this, go ahead. Get that warrant taken care of. Turn yourself in. Let's just get this fixed. If not, you're going to go on our billboards, social media, Channel 3 News, and our Facebook page for people to watch you. And tell the viewers how they can win.
Absolutely. Call Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP if you know where Demetrius is at or you see him in your neighborhood looking in windows of cars. Give us his location, and once he's picked up based off that location, you could be eligible to earn a reward of up to $3,000. And remember, crime doesn't pay, but we do.
We need your help locating the people in this week's Missing Persons segment. We are looking for 15-year-old Aaliyah Kishana Thomas. Thomas was reported missing on November 18th. She is a habitual runaway. Our next missing juvenile is 16-year-old Traquan Levon Rich. Rich was reported missing on November 26th. And have you seen 16-year-old Deuna Latia McKnight? Knight was reported missing on November 27th. She is also a habitual runaway. The next juvenile reported missing is 16-year-old Quatorius DeMarcus Jones. Jones was reported missing on November 27th and is a habitual runaway. Our last missing juvenile is 15-year-old Miranda Rosalie Riles. Riles was reported missing on November 28th. She is a habitual runaway. If you have any information on these missing people, contact the ECSO at 436-9620. Well, it's that time of year again, the time of year we really love. It's my favorite event here at the Sheriff's Office, Shop with a Cop.
Yep, it's Christmas time, so we're kicking off the annual Shop with a Cop program.
It's like as soon as the holidays are start to get kicked off, as soon as Halloween ends, I feel like we always skip Thanksgiving and it's right to Christmas.
Well, yeah, especially for our unit. We go right from summer right to school starting, and now I start working with Shop with a Cop, and it's quite a process to get that program up and running.
And the people at home that have never heard of Shop with a Cop before, don't know what it's about, can you kind of explain that?
Absolutely. What we do is we partner with the school district. We identify 2 kids from every middle and elementary school in a district, and they're the ones that can identify the kids that need the most help, and kids that are in the most need, let's say, and for some good Christmas cheer. So we get 2 kids from every school, and we take them with a law enforcement officer. The deputy will go pick them up on the 15th of December, take them to the Walmart on Highway 29, and we give them $200 each, and they go Christmas shopping.
That is awesome. One of the biggest questions we've had is how are these kids picked? How are they deemed for this program?
Sure. There's no registering your child for the program, so you can't call the sheriff's office or call me to register your kid for the program. Basically, the school district, the counselors, the administrators at the schools know the kids who have the most need, okay? Or there's something that happened and they just really need a good Christmas this year. And that's where we come in. I personally go out and, with a team of mine, and we go collect money from citizens, from businesses, from whoever. And we have 66 kids in a program this year. So that's $13,200 I got to go out there and find.
That's a lot.
So it is. But we have some really great sponsors that come along and help us every single year. So we take that money and we buy $200 gift cards for the kids. I know that may sound like a lot, but nowadays there's not really things that are cheap for kids.
No, used to, for Christmas we get maybe like $5, in our stocking or whatever, and that was a big deal. And now
Exactly.
It's
And it
hard.
was, $125 or $100 or some, only 75. But you can't get that much. And my whole philosophy when I took over the program was to make this the biggest impact for that kid for this Christmas that we possibly can. So 66 is kind of our limit because I have 50 deputies that's going to have to go pick up these kids and bring them. We got 10 sets of siblings, so that's where the math comes in. That's why we got more kids and we got deputies. But $200, and people may say that's a lot of money for a kid. It is. But they can make such a great Christmas, and you understand that these kids don't only buy stuff for themselves, okay? They understand as a child the giving that's involved. So they buy stuff for their parents, they buy stuff for their siblings, they buy stuff for people that are in their lives. Maybe it be shoes, maybe it be clothing, or we've had kids buy deodorant, we've had kids buy food. And that's what it's all about. So if I can take a young person shopping with $200 and they come back with $200 worth of food for their families, God bless them. That's what we're there for.
I always describe this event as it puts a big smile on my face, but also breaks my heart. And that's why is you see these kids get this $200 gift card, and you tell them, go get something for yourself. Go get some Christmas presents, and you see them buying food for their families, and you see them buying things like deodorant and household needs, or things for their siblings or their mom or dad or grandparents, and that's what Christmas is about.
That's exactly what it's about.
It's amazing to see the purity of these children and just how great they are and how they want to help. But then also what you see is when you get to the register, the deputies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if we start from the beginning, when we go pick up the kids, sometimes we're picking them up from a hotel. Sometimes we're picking up from a car. Because they're homeless, they don't have a place to stay. We've picked them up from garages and back of homes before. So we take these kids and we try to give them the best Christmas that they can. And the officers that are with them get just as much, probably more, because I've been involved in the program for several years now, and I watch them. I watch what they buy. I know that there is such a need out there, and we can't reach all of them, but we can try. Our little part is only 66 kids. But again, it's one of the largest Shop with a Cop programs in the country for that amount of money for those kids. And I'm not trying to make a big splash with the more kids and more money. That's not what I'm trying to do. What we're trying to do here at the Sheriff's Office is give the amount of kids that we have the best that we can give them. Okay?
Yeah.
I know that, as a kid, I would have enjoyed that.
Yes,
and, some of these kids are in such great need that they'll never get the opportunity. And parents come to us all the time after these programs and just grab us by the neck or hold our by hand and say, look, I have no idea how I was going to make this Christmas work. Funds are low, this has happened or that has happened. And I was just thinking the other day, how can I give my kids a Christmas? And then we come along and again, it's only 66 kids, but that's 66 kids that would have been helped otherwise.
It's something that we can do, take out of our personal time and do. And also, not only does the Sheriff's Office donate to this program, but the individual employees of the Sheriff's Office do as well. It's not just deputies that shop with them. We also have our civilians that come in and shop as well. And you will see these kids get to the register, and maybe they've gone a little over because, like you said, the deputies get happy too. And
exactly.
And it's get, and or maybe they've spent their $200 on others, and you will see the deputies send them back to go get a toy, and they open up their own personal wallets.
That's exactly right. We have at least one investigation. I'll tell everybody. It's Josh Hendershot. That guy, when he takes his kid shopping, that kid just goes crazy. And Josh is there with him. They're loading stuff in the buggy, and it doesn't matter what it comes up to because I know that Josh will pay the rest of that for for that young man or that young lady. And that's the kind of people that are here. Again, I said we have 10 sets of siblings. So we have brother and sister, or two brothers or two sisters, whatever. And we'll take them, and the deputy will have 2 kids with them.
Yeah.
So that's where the civilian employees come in, that I'll assign that as a civilian employee with a deputy. And they can take Susie to the electronics, and they can take John to
Right.
Legos. So
Yeah.
it's like herding cats. It's,
It really
it is. You know, it's chaos, but it
Yeah.
is so much fun because you have the 66 kids, you have the 50 deputies, you have probably about 30 civilian employees, all crammed up into the Walmart on Highway 29. So if you're there around the 15th of December, about 3 o'clock, come over and enjoy the madness.
It's a sight to see.
It
is
is.
absolutely wonderful just to stand back and watch and see the kids' faces. It's
Yes.
just real, and the deputies and the civilian employees that are helping out too. Their faces.
They have a great time. They have a great time. We had a
Yeah.
young man last year that he bought in his cart. Now he had like 100 Hot Wheels
Yeah.
cars, and he just he figured that was the thing to do.
Yeah.
So he had 100 of those things.
Wow.
So we had to say, okay, look, pick the top 10, and we'll go get something else.
But how do you do that?
Well, exactly right. But it is for them.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, the officers, when they get the names of the kids, they get the contact information for the parent, guardian, whatever. So they're tasked with, okay, mom and dad, what is it that you do not want me to get for them?
Right.
Can they have a bike? Can they have a video game? If so, what are your parameters? We know that if we get a bike or a skateboard, they have to get a helmet with it. So that's just something we do because it's a safety thing.
Right.
And some parents will say, well, I don't want them to have this because I'm going to get that for them. Or dad will say, look, I have worked an extra job for the past several months. I want to buy him that PlayStation. But you can get him these games, or he can get these games. Or I can't get the video game this year. Can you do it?
Right.
$200 will get you a good PlayStation or whatever it is
Yeah.
that the kids are into now. And again, that's what is such a joy for me. It's a challenge to raise the money. It's a challenge for me to make sure I have all the kids, have them identified, and get it together, and off it goes.
And let's talk about that. A big part of it is raising that money. I think you said you needed
Yes.
$13,200 just to make this
That's
possible.
just for the 66 kids at $200 each.
If I'm at home and I'm watching this and I want to donate, I know that there's specific packages that they can donate under, a bronze package, a silver.
Sure.
But that doesn't matter. I mean, how
No,
can
it
they
doesn't
do
matter.
this? And
If you go to our website, Escambia County Sheriff's Office, you can find a sponsorship form there, and it has a bronze, it has a silver, and has a gold level sponsorship.
Yeah.
I think the gold is $1,000. I'm not everybody can do that. I get
Right,
that.
right.
But if you can give me $50, that's a quarter of a kid, okay?
Yeah.
And maybe I'll get 3 other people to come along and say, okay, I'll do 50 as well. Or if it's $1, I don't care. We're just trying to make the biggest impact that we can in these kids' lives for just a day.
Right.
Okay? And it's not only the kids, it's the parents. Like I said, the parents need this help as well. And it's something that takes a little bit of a load off them. But if they want to donate, they can write a check to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, Explorer Post 117.
Okay.
Let's try not to get into the cash thing, because I'd have to get the cash, take it to the sheriff's
it's a longer
office.
process.
It is, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of accountability that I have to go through. I got to get the
Yeah.
receipt. I got to bring it back to you.
Yeah.
That way, the money and everything is taken care of. Check is much easier. I can just take the check, thank you, and I can take it to the sheriff's finance. They can deposit it, and you can have that check as your receipt. It is tax deductible, so you can certainly do that. Call me. I'll give you my cell phone number. 530-1271, area code 850-530-1271. Call me. I'll come to your house. I'll meet you wherever. And again, it's for the kids. Yeah, I know there's a lot more kids out there in need, and I know there are kids with a lot worse stories than what we hear. But all I can do is, the one little part that we can deal with. Maybe somebody else can come up with another program and do that, and help another 66 kids. I understand the need. I know that there's more out there than what we can help. But just for what I'm giving and what the time that I have and the deputies that I can spare, 66 kids at $200 is quite an impact.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and talking
Thank
about this.
you.
Again, what's the date that people, if they want to come by and see?
December 15th is the last day of school before the Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
We'll line up at the 4th Precinct on Hood Drive off Highway 29 right across from the Walmart. And we'll walk across about 3:15, take a picture, and then it's madness from that point in time until all the kids are done.
Yeah.
And we get them back to their homes, with their toys or whatever it is that they want to buy.
Well, thank you again so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing this great program. And again, one of our sponsorship forms you can find on our Facebook page. You can also find it on our website, and that is at escambiaso.com.
I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and thank you for watching Ask the Sheriff. This is your chance to ask me any questions you want answered about the ECSO. Our team hits the streets again, and here are some of the questions you asked. Ann asked the question, about the budget for recruiting and training of new employees, and how much we spend. That should be rolled over and not used for that, but in fact used for employee salaries. Well, Ann, number one, the amount of money we spend on that, I would tell you that negligible doesn't describe it. It's so minimal, because we do almost all of our employee advertising, through social media, which is something we paid for to do a whole host of other things, like our Facebook and our blog site, etc., website at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. And so most people get that online. We tell folks, if you want to apply at the Sheriff's Office, go to escambiaso.com. There's a drop down there that'll tell you about employment opportunities or how you can do that. So, the amount of money that we spend on advertising for jobs and jobs availability is little or nothing. The last time we really did a huge community outreach, we did a huge minority push about a year and a half ago in an attempt to get our minority recruitment numbers up to entice young men and women to come into law enforcement. And even then, we didn't spend, but a few $1,000s to even make that happen. So while it's a terrific idea, and we're always reviewing the budget and to see, where can we save, nickels and dimes, because it eventually all adds up. That's just not an area that, we spend any money on that would really help, it'd be in the minimum at the most. Ray asked the question about the Hamrick escape, which occurred at the work camp up in the north end of the county, as to why it was so easy to do that, and kind of got the impression, Ray, from your question, that we at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office run that program. Number one, we do not run the Escambia County Jail, the work release program, pretrial release program, or the work camp up in the north end of the county, off of up in the cantonment area. Those are normally low-risk inmates, Ray, that go up there because of the sentence that they're getting or they're awaiting, and that they're looking, to gain some good time, and they're considered minimum risk inmates. And what happens is occasionally they'll go out on these details where, again, there's not real close supervision because, again, of their offense, and they're awaiting, release, and they're gaining good time. It's very easy for correctional officers because that, again, is not a high-risk environment for the officers, and they can, in many instances, because of the low level of supervision, just quite literally walk off of a work site. And unfortunately, that's what happens. It happens occasionally. An inmate will get a call from home. There's a child that's sick, or a spouse or a girlfriend many times that calls and says, they get, the Dear John letter, I'm leaving, and so, they'll go over the edge and kind of walk off of the work camp. The very nature of that particular program lends itself to that occurring. So as long as we have these minimal security situations, you're going to have inmates that violate it. Again, thank goodness there was not any great danger to the community. I'm sure the Escambia County folks that run that particular program, do it with some diligence to ensure that high-risk inmates are not assigned to that program. We have a question from a Mr. Salas about an amnesty program or how to turn in a gun. Mr. Salas, you can do that anytime. We've done some of the gun turn-ins and buybacks, or if you would like to have someone do it for you, as long as it's not a minor, by the way. We accept those weapons. You can call down to Central Dispatch. You can call 436-9620, We can have an officer come out and collect the weapon if you would prefer not to be the one to turn it in. If there's a reason why you can't have a weapon, we certainly understand that. Then have someone turn it in for you. But as far as amnesty goes, no, we don't have the authority to do that. Let's say, for the sake of this question, that you're a former felon, or the person that you're asking the question for is a former felon, and they've lost their constitutional right to bear arms. Then no, they can't turn the weapon in and have us just kind of turn our head and say, well, it's okay because you're turning the weapon in. So it can be turned in. It can be turned in legally. But we don't have any authority at the sheriff's office, myself or none of my officers, to give someone amnesty that has a weapon that doesn't have a constitutional right to have one. Rayanne asked the question, could we do like we do so many other public safety or public service things, do a tent test for everyone. Rayanne, I wish we could, but in case you've been following the news, we're down a tremendous number of officers. We're reducing a lot of the community outreach and service projects that we've done for years since I've been sheriff. So right now it's just physically impossible with the deputy shortage that we've had in order for us to basically set up a tent check, if you will, in a parking lot somewhere one weekend and pay officers off-duty time or take an officer off the street to do that. What I would recommend that you do is that most all of the tenting shops around town, they're aware of the Florida legal requirements for tenting. So they shouldn't, number one, tent your vehicle windows that would put you in violation of the Florida law. But I would strongly recommend that you just check with one of them and say, hey, I've got some tinting on my windows and I want to make sure it's within the parameters of the Florida statutes. And you can do that very quickly. And I can't imagine any of the local business owners that wouldn't take a few moments and do that for you. Remember, you can also email your questions and ask the sheriff at escambiaso.com. We'll be back next week right here on Blab TV, Tuesday night at 8 p.m.